in surgery as we speak.
Is there any more information you can give us?
My husband! Where's my husband? I demand to know his condition right now!
Okay, take a deep breath. We're gonna go.
No, I will turn this place out. Tell me where he is. I want to see him immediately.
I'm sorry, you can't see Mr. Hamilton.
Wait, are you saying...
He's in surgery, Hayley.
Surgery? For what? What happened? And who's operating on him? I only want the best doctors taking care of Bill. I need to see him. Take me to him right now, please.
Hayley, you need to collect yourself. Your behavior is unacceptable.
Loud, 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 loud. Hey, everybody. Happy Monday. Welcome back to Fans of Beyond the Gates, the podcast. I'm your host, Sis, and this is our recap review discussion of Season 2, episode 143. Let's jump to this. I hope y'all are having a great day. Check the description box by clicking more. It'll give you more information if you have questions. If you'd like to see the 3 comment channel guidelines before you comment, just click the word view. Once you get down to the comment section, let's jump to this, y'all. So they pick us up with where they left us off on Friday. Remember, y'all know Bill fell out on his way. It's not funny. Caroline and Bill were in his office, right? This is Friday. And he was getting ready to go meet Hayley up at the airport, right? To take their trip to St. Bart's. And just as he's walking out, he starts teetering, tottering, and then boom, he falls down. And Carolyn walks up there. Bill. Okay, and so they pick us up there. So she's shaking his chest, Bill. So she calls 911, and we see Miss Darlene at work, y'all, for the first time. So Jacob and Isaiah's mom, she answers the phone call. 911, what's your emergency? And Caroline explains what's happened, and Miss Darlene walks her through how to do CPR on Bill. First, tilt his head back, then listen, don't hear a heartbeat, and then let's start the compressions. And so she does all that, and he still isn't breathing. Miss Darlene lets her know, while we're doing this, I am sending an ambulance your way. So we later see Caroline calling Hayley. Hayley's in the limo. She had just texted Bill, your wife is in the limo, right? We're waiting on you so the plane can take off. And she gets the call from Caroline. She thinks it's about, of course, Bill is on his way. He's running late or something. Hey, Caroline. And Caroline's like, Hayley. And Hayley's like, what's wrong? And she tells her, and Hayley bangs on the window of the limousine, and she tells the driver, "Get me to Garland Memorial now!" And so, let's go to Garland Memorial. We see Dani, we see Naomi, we see Jacob, of course, Ashley and Shanice are there, and Caroline was there. And Dani and Naomi thanked her, and she explained to them what happened, that she did try CPR, it didn't work, but she has to get back to the office. And Dani is really surprised by that. She's like, well, back to the office? You don't want to take the rest of the day off? And y'all, Caroline explains that Bill was actually on his way out of town, out of the country with Hayley. And so Dani and Naomi both look at each other, and Dani was like, wait, what? And she's like, yeah, you didn't know? He and Hayley were scheduled to leave today for St. Bart's, right? And so y'all know they've already been letting us know that Naomi and Nam are on to Hayley. At least they're in the wrong direction. But you know how that game we used to play when we were growing up, y'all, you're getting warmer, right? And so Caroline leaves, and so around the corner, y'all, comes Ashley and Shanice. And Dani is like, is Bill okay? And that's when Hayley comes off the elevator with this great acting, right, to win an Academy Award. And of course, you saw it, right? Or if you didn't see it, you just heard it. And I made sure not to, make sure we could hear the clip as clearly as possible. So y'all, Dani and Hayley have it out. And y'all, I'm sorry. Dani was wrong. Hayley was right. In this instance, I'm on Hayley's side. She's absolutely right. Why are you here? Okay. One of the things that Hayley told Ashley today, this is after Shanice had threatened that if they didn't both calm down, she was going to call security and have them both escorted out. But like Hayley said to her, I'm not the problem. She's the one who is trying to make it all Jerry Springer up in here. Because y'all know Dani said, let me, if I whoop your behind and show you. Okay, all right. And so we later see Anita, while all this is happening, Anita and Vernon and Kat come off the elevator, and Shanice says to them, y'all need to do something. Mayday, mayday. Y'all need to get your daughter and take her to Nicole's office. I will call security and have them open the door. Well, while Vernon is walking up to Dani as she's still going in on Hayley, y'all, Dani is losing it by the moment, right? You'll never, ever be able to replace me in Bill's heart. And I will never, ever stop caring about my husband. And everybody looking like, girl, this man ain't your husband, girl. Girl, this man ain't your husband, right? And everybody, Vernon, Anita, Naomi, Kat, Jacob, Ashley. There was some extra in the back. Did y'all see the extra in the back? They looked too. The extra in the back. They all looking like, oh my gosh, she done went off the deep end. And so we later see them taking Dani into Nicole's office. But one of the things that Hayley did that I actually agree with, she tells Ashley, I want to note, put in Bill's file right now in his chart that says Dani is barred from ever visiting his room. And she tells her, add it now. And of course, because she's the wife, y'all, there's nothing that any of the children, anyone else can do. And honestly, I think Hayley should have done that from Giddy Up, really. Because, I mean, there are, barriers and boundaries that she could have put in place a long time ago to kind of stop the progression of Dani and Bill reconnecting, right? And so I agree with this. Well, when Dani is taken into Nicole's office, she tells Vernon and Anita, I am not some 5-year-old who needs to be, in timeout. And Anita says, oh, really? You're not? And she grabs her hand and she tries to talk to her calmly. Dani, this energy you're giving right now is not going to help Bill. And Dani's like, that's right. You know what's so crazy? What's going to happen, y'all, when Andre finds out about this? And he comes to the hospital because Dani's there. And he sees Dani more concerned about Bill than anybody else. And Dani falls into Vernon's arms and she says to him, what if Bill, what if? And Vernon's like, don't worry about it. Because, she's afraid that Bill may actually die. Well, I'm looking at my notes, y'all. I will say, wait a minute. One of the funny things about today is this was before they took Dani in Nicole's office, when Dani and Hayley had gotten into it, and Hayley went to another part of the hospital to cool down, and Dani walked over to Jacob and Naomi, and she's like, because Naomi's feeling guilty, oh my God, this is all my fault. If I had have just done more to get Dad to go back to the hospital. And Dani says to her, don't you dare do this to yourself. It's not your fault. The person whose fault this is over there in another tacky outfit. And I have to say, the outfit that Hayley has on is giving retro 70s, right? But anywho, well, let's talk about what these folks were doing before everyone found out about Bill in the hospital today. Well, Vernon, Anita, Chelsea, and Kat, they were having breakfast at the country club. Y'all remember when our show first came on in season 1, we learned that the Duprees have breakfast every morning at their special table at the country club. Well, they're out in the kind of sitting area, and they've got a nice tea set going on. I love, it's not just for me, the fashions and the hairstyles and the makeup and the jewelry, that's everything. It's also the cutlery and, the dishes that they use. I just love it. I love elegance and grace and simple beauty. And so I was just looking at that tea set. Of course, I know it's not real china, right? But, a girl can dream, right? Well, they were sitting there just, getting caught up with each other. And then Chelsea has to go, right? And then Anita and Vernon tell Kat, well, hold on just a second, because she said she had to go and work on some stuff for Chelsea Kat. And Anita says to her, your grandfather and I wanted to talk with you about your recent life choices, and y'all know the soap opera look. And so she thinks that they're about to just lay into her about this whole situation, buying the condo and so on, all this. And you know what? They actually do the opposite. They tell her how proud they are of her. And y'all know, I am a Kat stan, right? And I am glad that they've written Deanna to be a support system to Kat, someone that can see the good in her and praise her. But also Vernon and Anita, I love this today because Kat has done something heroic that most people would not have done. And for sure, the way Eva and them came into town, and we can never forget that. I know that Eva has made strides to change, and Leslie is still the same, but it was a very difficult thing to give up part of your body to someone who came into your life in such a way and ruined your family. And yes, we know Ted ultimately was the ruination of the situation. But still, though, it was the way it all went on, the creeping, the tiptoeing, the scheming, the planning, the lying, all those things. And so Kat is a hero. She's a shero. And so to see her grandparents give her flowers, and I love what Anita said. She said, Catherine Marie Richardson, we are so proud of you. And of course, Kat was smiling ear to ear. Now I have to say, when they were talking to her about this, there was another funny part of the show that had me laughing today. Is when Kat was saying, I thought you guys weren't going to be pleased about me buying the condo, seeing as you two obviously need privacy from time to time. Y'all, how come Vernon talking about, listen, if you're trying to say that your grandparents should be ashamed of our very active sex life, I'm like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I know that this is a fictional show with fictional characters, but I kind of feel the way I would feel if my parent is like, you know what, I don't even want to, don't even listen. Whatever. Do you guys remember when we were children and somebody was saying something when we didn't want to hear, we would stick our fingers in our ears and go, la, 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 la. That's how I felt like doing today. I don't want to hear it, Vernon, la, la, la. So anyway, so that was funny. Well, they did tell Dani and them, Shanice explained what the procedure that Bill is having. He's having an ablation for AFib or afibrillation, right? It's a very minimally invasive procedure and so on and so forth. But the good thing is the man ain't dead, right? Isaiah and Eva, y'all, this was very, this was a serious situation today. So y'all know that Isaiah, let me just, before I recap what happened between these two today, I want to say this. I know, shout out to all the BTG writers that listen in. I so appreciate you guys. There was something that happened on the show last week that made me smile. And I appreciate you guys listening. I really do. I will say this. When it comes to how the men are written, Isaiah's a good dude, at least for now, right? We don't know what they've got in store for us for the remainder of season 2 and for season 3. But so far, he's a good dude. And we do have several good dudes on our show. And that's great. I love that because I always like to encourage single women, despite what you've heard and despite what they say on the news and despite what all the articles say about all the stats, this world is full of more good quality men than not. It's just that the men who aren't quality get the most shine and get the most attention. But there are good men with their noses down, feet and hands to the grindstone, working hard, taking care of their families, loving their children and their wives. And guess what? They are handsome black men on top of it, okay? And Isaiah's one of those. However, I think there needs to be a healthier balance in the way they're written, in the sense that there's a healthy balance between writing a man in such a way that he's almost like a woman. Yes, there are men who are sensitive and they are loving and they want to do any and everything they can to make their woman feel attractive and special, especially when she's going through something traumatic in terms of some body disfigurement. However, that can be taken too far to where he doesn't have any boundaries for himself. And so I like the way Isaiah did things today. He was trying to explain to Eva, because Eva was working from home. Now I'm going to recap what happened as I continue to share with the writers what I think about it. She was working from home, and he came in and he tried to get up behind her, and she's like, I got stuff to do, basically. And he's like, wait a minute. She's like, you know what? I haven't drinking my daily water quota today. I've only had 3 cups out of the 8 I'm supposed to have. How about you? You want some hydration? They call it the elixir of life. And he's like, stop. I know what you're doing, and it's not going to work. So they embark on having this discussion that turns into an argument where Eva's trying to explain to Isaiah, this scar is bothering me. And he's like, but it shouldn't be bothering you. I love you. The scar is a part of you. It's beautiful too, and all this stuff. That, of course, from his vantage point, and that's just it. It's from his vantage point. And Eva tries to explain, but it bothers me, and da-da-da-da-da. And so they get into it, and he says to her, and this is when he put up the boundary, which is what most straight men would do. You know what? This back and forth is giving me a headache. I'm finna step out. Because the truth of the matter is all of us need to have de-escalation techniques. And I like that they wrote in that, because very often it's not, it can happen in a heart's moment, right, y'all? All of y'all who are partnered in some way, married or dating in a serious fashion, that a disagreement can quickly escalate to an argument, and that can quickly escalate if somebody then walk away and say, you know what, let's just put in a little bit of space right now so we don't begin to say things we're going to later have to apologize for, and that will not be forgotten, by the way. And so anyway, so he walks out, right, and he goes to the police station. He's going down there to talk to Isaiah, but his mama's down there, and he winds up talking to Miss Darlene and getting advice from her, and she takes him back to something that happened in childhood and helps him to see, this is not about Eva's scar, really. Okay, it's about her. It's about something deeper. And so while he's down there doing that, she's at home and she's laying on the couch and she's just re-envisioning in her head all the special moments they've had from the moment they met, and she gave him the pencil and so on and so forth. Y'all remember all that stuff. And then he goes back and he comes in, and he says, let's just do the day over. And so they try to talk it out. But what I will caution the writers in terms of the balance of how these straight men are written is that very few straight men, are going to get so sappy to the point where they let a woman run over them. And men who do that at the expense of trying to keep peace, which there are some men that do that, eventually that builds resentment, and then that's the man that later, winds up, cheating, stepping out, because he has to reclaim his manhood in some way, shape, or form. And so this is what I'm going to suggest. Could y'all please get, if y'all don't have, a whole lot of straight people in the writer's room, can y'all consult with somebody, or I don't know, or some people, because I see so much potential with our men, and I don't want it to be written in such a way that even though the men are straight men, they're basically feminine. They're effeminate in the way they handle their emotions and things like that. So anywho, he comes back, like I said, and they try to talk it out. And, he helps her realize, I'm not going to leave you. And she explains that, well, Ted, child, don't get me started. Ted left Leslie when Ted found out that she was pregnant with her. And he says, but we're not them. And then she says, but when things got hard for you, for your family, you walked away from your family. I thought that was a real good point to make. And she said, and what, makes me feel like you wouldn't do that to me if things got so hard with us. And he explains to her, it's not going to happen because I love you, and so on, so on, so and so. And then they get to kissing and going on. So it was great to see that they were able to work that out. Y'all know I'm saving the best for last, don't you? I know for some of y'all today's show, the best was Dani going off on Hayley. But I gotta tell y'all something. We done seen that. I done seen that a million times on this show. And so for me, Heather and Vanessa was the best part of the show. And that's the great thing about all of us having different viewer experiences. Some things stand out to us more than others. And so I appreciate that. Let me just look over my notes before I talk about them. Oh, before Dani and them went up to the hospital, Dani, Chelsea, and Naomi were meeting up at the country club for a girls' mother-daughter spa day, which I thought was fantastic. However, the spa broken, y'all. They got maintenance problems, and they working on it. So they let her know when she arrives. We have to reschedule because they still ain't fix it. So she sits down, y'all, and she brings them up to speed on meeting Heather and also seeing Randy up at Uptowns and all of that. So I love seeing this. I'm really glad, too, in season 2, they're giving us more scenes with the mothers with their children. Remember, y'all, we talked about this in season 1, that, and I know if you're new here, you don't see those podcasts and videos, and I've explained why they are privated and so on and so forth. But we've been together in this community since season 1, and we will be together until the show ends, you know, and hopefully that won't be for many, many years. But one of the things a lot of us were saying in season 1 is we rarely saw these people with their children. Like, we rarely saw Nicole with Kat or Martin, especially Martin, and we rarely saw Dani with her kids either. And so finally, you know, they started giving us more of that in season 1, and in season 2 we're getting more and more, and I like that. Well, they get each other caught up to speed. By the way, we learned that Madison is about to catch a flight. We don't see Madison, we just know, Chelsea tells us this, that Madison is going to catch a flight to Denmark today. Well, Ashley and Shanice, this is before Bill came off the elevator in a stretcher. They were up at the nurse's station talking and gossiping, and y'all, Shanice had asked Ashley because she worked late on Friday, to which Ashley tells her she cannot because she has joined a committee that Monica has started at the hospital, y'all. Y'all, I still say Monica ain't on the up and up. I know. Somebody's still the impaler, y'all. And remember, we thought it was Heather, and it still might be Heather. And for all we know, Andre might be involved in that, you know. But I will say that there's got to be something with Monica, right? There's got to be. Okay, now let's go to what was my favorite part of the show today. Okay, so Vanessa and Joey are up at the casino, right? And they're in the back still talking over this date that they're going to have with Dani and the dinner with Heather and all this. Not Dani, but Heather. And remember, last Friday, we learned that Joey suggested that they have dinner at his house and let him do the cooking. So they're talking over a possible menu when he gets a call from his one of the managers on the floor. And they tell him that something happened to where all the cameras have gone down. I knew then. I said, Heather's in the building, y'all. Heather's in the building. And he's like, what? Well, make sure somebody's covering every single table and that they have eyes on every table. So he tells Vanessa, I got to go out here and see what the heck is going on because I've got to get those cameras back up. Well, when he leaves out, guess who comes in? Heather. Oh, and so Vanessa's like, twice in the same day? And she's like, well, where's Joey? I came to see Joey. And she's like, well, he went out to the floor. And so, but long story short, y'all, Heather, okay, has a little pail where she tells Vanessa, I won big and I came to rub it in his face. And we could hear her jingling some coins, okay, in the pail. So she dumps the coins out on the table and she says to her, well, how long is it going to be before I cash in? I want him to see all this. And so Vanessa tries to explain, Joey don't cash nothing in, child. There's a cashier that does all that, and he ain't here either, so going to have to wait. Now, at this point, Vanessa is very wary of Heather. She's nervous, she's uneasy, but Heather is just playing it up, y'all. She's playing it up. Oh, well, it's great that he's, okay, well, why don't we just take time to get to know each other? And I'm just going to get myself something to drink. So she scoozy and moseys around to the bar, and she gets the best tequila that Joey has. One bottle we learned from Vanessa that he's been saving. So she says to her, well, not that one because that's his favorite, and he hadn't even broken the seal on it, child. Right while she's talking, Heather cracks the seal, and she starts giving them shots. So Heather commences to getting Vanessa drunk to get information out of her, and it works like a charm. She learns all about Doug. She learns about the fact that she's got twins. And Heather is pretending, well, from what we can see, Heather is taking these shots too, but we can tell she is not drunk. Actually, Vanessa is. So y'all, Vanessa's giggling and sniggling. And Heather looking like, you bitch, you dumb bitch, right? And so as they giggling and sniggling, Joey comes in. He's like, what is this? And so Heather then pretends she is drunk, and she starts slurring her words and all this. And so Vanessa's like, were you able to get the cameras back up? And he's like, no, we're still working on it. Now, Joey knows this. Heather's got something to do with this. And so he tells Vanessa, okay, enough for you. Let's go and let's get you some water and splash some water on your face. Now, while they do that, he tells Heather, well, why don't you stick around so we can talk, right? But she leaves. Later, we see Heather in what appears to be the hospital, Garland Memorial Hospital elevator. And she's thinking back on what happened with her and Vanessa at the casino, where in the flashback, they show us what really happened. When she dumped the pail on the table and emptied out the coins, she put the pail by the chair. And every time Vanessa would turn her drink up, Heather would quickly dump hers in the pail and pretend that she finished the drink. And she says, damn, I'm good. Y'all, later, when Joey is talking to Vanessa, he says to her, I think you need to be really careful about Heather. And she's like, what, you don't like me and hanging out with your sister? And he's like, it does concern me because Heather always has a motive, right? And so, y'all, I'm going to tell y'all what I think. I'm with a lot of y'all. I definitely think that Andre and Heather have a connection. Remember, I told you guys, I personally, don't believe that Andre been living all these years off his mama and daddy's money. The folks died, what was it, umpteenth years ago. Ain't no money lasted that long, y'all. And he told us that when it came to his photography, he never took a salary. He always donated it to these charitable organizations in the name of his parents. But y'all, again, his parents have been dead for a long time. And we learned that his parents were real estate investors. Well, yeah, but again, money does come to an end, especially if you're saying that you're giving all the money you're earning away. It wouldn't surprise me, y'all, if Andre was kept at one point by Heather, and if Heather is the impaler, if he didn't have something to do with that, right? But we know for certain that something's going on, right, with Andre, and Heather's in town for more reasons than just Joey. But she definitely got Vanessa drunk today, and she got all the information. And like we saw Friday when she took that selfie with Dani and Vanessa up at the Uptowns, but not at the bar, we know that we're going to probably see Andre get that photo in a text soon to let him know, I've gotten close to your wife too, So we'll see exactly what they have in store for us for Heather. Now, if I'm not mistaken, and somebody can correct me if I've got this wrong in the comments, I don't think this lady has signed on for many episodes, but then too, now that I say that, isn't the man Jordy, and he's still on here? And they told us originally Jordy was signed up for just 20 episodes, and y'all know I don't want him on there, Why don't you want him on there, sis? It ain't got nothing to do with anything other than, I just don't, it's like, either he's them, like, what is going to be the story with him? Okay, because he's already irritated me, because if it weren't for him, y'all know I'm going to go there. I know what some of you told me. Move on. Let it go. I will not move on. I will not let it go. I will fight for Derek. I'm playing. I'm playing, y'all. But no, y'all know what I've said. I wanted him to get killed, not Derek, okay? Ben Gavin had gotten so much better in his acting, and I was really beginning to enjoy him. And the time I started enjoying him, he's gone. And yet, Jordy, okay, is still on there. And yeah, I don't think Jordy's good for Ashley. Anyway, let me look over my notes, y'all. Yeah, that's pretty much it. As I get ready to let you go, today's show was really, really good. And I'm sorry, y'all. And I know Hayley is a cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, but I am on her side. She is the wife, and she takes precedent over kids and ex-wife. And I'll talk to you on the next one. Bye, guys.